we can hop right into it and start with game one,
Oh, sounds good.
which is FOD. I think I started the Discord stream. Are you able to
Yes,
watch
I'm
that?
watching.
Okay, cool. So yeah, it starts out with this crazy Nicki momentum where you just get this instant grab on the light shield here and get the like zero death in like the first 10 seconds of the game, which is super sick. And the crowd was all hyped for this. And I think that Zayn, it felt like this set, I'm not sure. He either like was thrown off all day or got super thrown off by the Aklo set. And I went over the Aklo set yesterday and it looked like Aklo was kind of just cutting him off at every turn. But it feels like he kind of came into this set without the proper mental preparation against Ice Climbers. And I think this is like the perfect example of like, okay, he came in not doing great, and I like that you just start out like tearing him apart for not doing great rather than maybe, some people would like over respect the number one player.
Yeah, whenever people are on platforms anywhere close to me, and especially when I'm already below Marth, where then like obviously they're afraid to come down with aerials if I'm just there crouching, I will just spam that waveland grab. Because even if I'm somewhat late on it and I get hit for it, I can just hold down on the platform. That's usually fine. With Zayn in this set, I feel like you can kind of see it in halfway through game one and at the beginning of game two, he kind of got momentum for a bit. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was just thinking like you cannot let him have a game because I felt like he was kind of like getting back into the set and like maybe entering a mode where he's like maybe I can still win this tournament, I can do this. So I
Mm-hmm.
was just like fighting to not give him anything because if I knew that if I give him one unnecessary stock, he might just get his confidence back and then it might just be over. I
Mm-hmm.
fully agree with your analysis of like he felt a bit out of it and just keeping it that way was my main goal in this set
Yes,
and
no,
just this
exactly.
start
I'm
helps
glad
a
you
lot.
agree with that. Because it definitely feels like it was. I think especially the game two win, where you get this game one win and he almost brought it back, and then he starts out like you said doing pretty well in game two, and I think like keeping him from getting that like 1-1 now I'm back, now I'm Zayn momentum was really important.
Yeah, for sure. Once I was up 2-0, I was like, all right, this is probably good
Yeah, no,
enough.
I think everybody felt that too. That it was like, okay, like Zayn not playing super hot and wasn't able to get this kind of like top player momentum shift thing over you. And I think that that's something I want people to really take away from this set. That like, if someone is not playing as solid as you, even if they are ranked way higher, you will win. And it's important to just be enough good enough competitor to like hold it together.
Yeah.
I think we definitely did that in this set. Okay, so yeah, it looks like the accidental Nana air dodge. Those are never fun. But so this is actually crazy. Is you just kind of I'm pretty sure you take two stocks in a row with Popo at this point, and that's something where I'm like, okay, that probably shouldn't be happening under normal circumstances. But then when you look at the actual interactions, you were kind of just like reading him in neutral, and I think this was really cool. This was an interesting spot. He made this exact same misjudgment like multiple times, where he feels like he can get you with this fair, and I don't know if he's just not used to people timing and spacing this well, but you did a really good job of getting to ledge just early enough. Like he actually, I'm pretty sure at the end of this game, it might be the end of this game, where he does a fair here, and you grab edge, and he ends up losing like the game because of it. Where you just get here right before the fair, and I think that's so good.
Yeah, and that's something I always preach when talking about edgeguarding Marth, is you want to grab ledge as late as possible while still being safe. So I barely
Mm-hmm.
managed to get it there those two
Yeah,
or three times.
I agree with that. And this was crazy. Like, is this a guaranteed combo at this percent? Like, should he just be DIing out here, or 'cause I
Um,
wasn't aware that this was like a kill combo.
Honestly, I don't know either. I think on DI in he can probably jump out, but the way I do it is that I dash forward every time after the down throw, and then during the initial dash forward, I react to the DI, and then I either pivot up smash or dash back JC
Ah,
up smash for
yeah,
DI
I
in,
see
and I
that.
just keep dashing forward for DI away. Um,
Okay, I didn't actually catch the dash in there. That's a good point to mention.
yeah, so this was not like me reading this. This was me always dashing forward to account for DI away, and then reacting to DI in, and then dashing back and up smashing.
Nice. Okay, yeah, and you clean up the early kill. I gotta look into this later. I can't believe that actually killed. If that's like a guaranteed kill, that'd be something.
I think Marth can technically jump out, but if they
Hmm.
jump out, it's still not the worst thing because usually they can't really punish you for it.
That makes sense. Okay, I see. I love this. I haven't seen this up tilt in this spot in so long. I think it's really good though.
It's
I
good
like
if you're reading like fast fall forward air because then they're holding down and they actually get hit by it and they don't just fall out.
that makes sense because you come in right at the peak here and do it. Yeah, I haven't seen
Yeah.
somebody use that since Fly Amanita, to be honest. Like he used to use that all the time. And yeah, I like that you smile here. You're just so one thing I really did notice about this set and this game in particular that it's like it comes up a lot in this game and it comes up a lot in game 3 is that when Zain is feeling off in this set, he's not playing like long neutrals at all. Like he's basically not. So I watched his set with Slug where he lost in 2022. And he actually does almost the exact same game plan, and I think his game plan is a bit weak against ICs in general. But one thing he did a lot more of is he does a lot more empty hop in the slug set, where he'll do like empty hop, dash back, empty hop, and he's creating like a little bit of like a neutral timing where he can actually sort of keep the neutral going. Where it feels like in this set, it feels like he's always kind of uncomfortable, and he's always trying to get in on you, like, very quickly with whatever he's got at the moment without really taking his time in neutral. And so I think it's good that you were, like, punishing this. Like, he just wasn't taking his time to actually dash dance here or think about the situation enough. And it's crazy to me that this stock is also taken by Popo.
I almost win the game with just Popo.
Yeah, no, it was
Should've
honestly
had that.
unreal. And so yeah, I think this was the moment where I realized that like 10% of his brain was actually functioning in this first game. Is he does look at this pattern he does where he's like dash dance fair, down tilt, dash dance fair, dash dance fair, and you're like, dude, I have eyes, like like I can see that you're doing dash dance fair, dash back, and you just get him with the jab grab here, which was really good. And I'm not sure what you think Marth's optimal edge guard here is on Popo. Do you have an opinion on that? Zain had a lot of trouble actually killing your Popo here. Just like every stock of this set, he basically took for like a really, really long time to get the kill, and you got a lot of like recoveries like this. Like this was a great recovery, by the way. You perfectly outspaced this forward smash, but I'm a little curious what you think he should be doing on the edge guard.
I think once he sees me cross a certain height where I can no longer realistically hit him with a side B, he can just wait longer. So on that one, for example, like I can try to go past him or I can try to go up high and then fall to ledge, right? But he doesn't
Right.
really have to act before I like visibly or he sees me decide which one I want to go for. I think here he just thought that he had, reacted to it and could have smashed it, but I just got barely enough hang time. Yeah, I think it wasn't totally wrong what he did. He can just like wait another 10 frames and then it gets easier. I also think Marth back air is pretty good for this edge guard, just because at some percent forward air would just send Popo up and that kind of sucks. But back air just sends them far enough out that they have to side B again, and then you get the easy F smash if you wait long enough.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like I've always felt like the fair edge guard is really good outside of like the really high percents, just because you get like Popo's gonna a lot of times do like the perfect survival DI, which I feel like will lead into stuff. But maybe at this percent, it's not quite as obvious. There's just a bunch of edge guards that'll come up later. We can talk about those.
Yeah.
Where he just has a lot of trouble getting the kill. And this is like a classic spot. This is really interesting to me that he goes for the grab here. It feels like it just seems like he's not quite used to, even despite all the other stuff, it feels like he's just not quite used to high level ICs. Like a lot of the decisions he makes, especially going forward, are very sort of like, well, if the IC's player is bad, this will work. And I think that's part of that's just the nature of not playing as well, is you kind of default to trying to punish things that are a little bit like more freebies, but it was still interesting that he just doesn't seem to like. It just doesn't seem like he's used to playing high level ICs, which I guess makes sense, but it was pretty prominent.
Yeah, definitely.
You're just stacking up the damage here. Wow, I get. There's so many times you just barely don't get forward smash. Like, how does this forward smash not hit? Yeah, just barely drifted outside of it. Crazy. And again, you get to the ledge slightly earlier than he expects every single time.
Yeah, maybe I can drop back air there and then just use my double jump to back air again after.
Oh yeah, you definitely could have done a back air there for sure.
Yeah. I think I might have even tried to. I'm not even sure. But at this point, like any additional hit I get, it's just like, yeah, okay, this is probably good enough.
Yeah, I feel like you felt like that one stock ago, and then still got that whole stock.
Yeah.
And this stock is once again, you're like, well, I'm just gonna get a little extra mileage, but then still almost take the stock. And at this point, he's at so much of a deficit that the commentators were basically like, "Oh, it's gonna be a 4 stock, like it's over," and then he kind of starts bringing it back. But I don't remember exactly how the comeback starts happening.
I think he does a much better job actually being proactive and taking space. Like these short top approaching forwarders he's doing here, they're pretty annoying to deal with if you can space them in a way where they, are perfectly safe on shield, and where you don't end up above IC so that they can't up air or back air out of shield.
Right.
And I feel like he kind of stopped doing that later. Not maybe maybe he lost confidence. Maybe I was just like playing, without thinking too much here, and then that ended up playing out in his favor. But yeah, of course, I was also being a little bit less defensive because I was just like, yeah, I just got to eventually hit him somehow. If I just get close to him and hold down, then some move will land eventually.
Yeah, up 3-1, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. One thing in a spot like this, even though, like, I think... So just from watching the Slug set ahead of this, and this is not necessarily good one way or the other, good or bad, but I do think that this is a spot where Slug would have done a wave dash to about here, and then set up a dash dance blizzard, and I think that could have been a good decision here also. I think this is fine, like you're up 3 stocks to 1, and it's kind of like assuming that you'll get something off of it, but I also think that would have been a solid neutral position to take. Like I think getting that setup sometimes is really good, but I think the wave dash in was fine also. I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not too comfortable setting up the blizzard right there when I'm facing away from the opponent, just because of how the dashes work out if you want to go for the dash dance desync.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you either have to go forward, back, forward, or you have to do a long back dash and then a forward one. But that's just something I have to do once or twice, and then it'll feel normal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just sets up the neutral in like a good way. Okay, crazy, crazy edgeguard attempt.
And this is the issue that when ICs get some height, then they always have this annoying mix-up of do they just go to top platform, do they air dodge to top platform, do they side B left or right and go to one of the other side platforms. Here he picks it up anyways, could have arms attacked that, but that's fine.
Yeah, I definitely think going to the platform here was the move. Because I don't think Marth has a potential kill. Like, if you go to top plat here, I don't think he has any way to kill you at 113. Like, if you go over here. I think he might... Like, I think it was tough because you were kind of reacting to him being on the side platform. So I do get that.
Yeah, I was trying not to get up tilted, first and foremost. That's why I chose that side B height. If you go to top platform, you probably just get up aired or forward aired on it. And then you're pretty much in the same spot, which is alright. Yeah.
I guess if we think about it from his end, that he could if he was acting optimally, basically, he could set up like a tipper here or something like that. Whereas he just wouldn't be able to on the top plat. But
yeah, for sure.
I definitely see why you were trying to avoid the up tilt there, because that's like the main move they would use. Yeah, this is another spot where I think the Blizzard setup would have been really good, especially with this platform height. Like getting a sort of like a Blizzard wall approach type of thing right here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's again because I'm not facing him that I don't feel comfortable setting it up, just because it's a different kind of movement I have to do leading into it that I usually don't do in neutral. So Just gotta sit down and try that out a bit so I can transition from my back air walling into the blizzard stuff more easily.
Yeah, exactly. Hmm.
But yeah, in this game I like how aggressive Zain is playing now. He's actually like down tilting just to check if I'm wave dashing in, and if I'm not, he usually just ends up taking space pretty quickly with those short up rising fares outside of my grab range. And that makes it
Yeah,
pretty awkward to deal with on the small stages especially.
no, I definitely agree, and I think like if he's doing like I think these are the sequences that we need to see more as Marth, where you get like perfectly spaced forward air in front of the shield into the down tilt, whereas like getting the fair, trying to get like more in there with the fair, like shield pressure and stuff like that. I think spacing, it's better to like miss the fair on shield here and get the down tilt than like try to make sure you hit the fair on their shield, because I think more stuff can go wrong with that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that honestly right here I think you could have probably done some sort of ice block thing. I think the side plat is right here for like ice block stuff coming off at like this angle. Uh, I think there's honestly a couple of things. I think Icy's edge guards against Marth have a lot of really interesting room to expand on. There's a SoCal Icy's Nigo, and I think that's his tag. I hope I'm not messing it up. But he's really good at doing the slip hog stuff, and he actually has like a ton of mix-ups on Marth out of it with like ice block and slip hog and stuff like that. And you might want to check out that guy's videos at some point, because I think that he has some pretty interesting like flow charts and stuff in the matchup. And you didn't really need any of them this set. I feel like you did a fine job, but I think that there's some really interesting stuff that some of the ICs are developing to edgeguard Marth in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. I think slip hogging is sometimes a bit risky because as Popo is grabbing the ledge and is on the ledge, Nana just hovers next to it and is vulnerable. And a lot of the time she gets caught by like Marth's side B or forward airs and then just dies. And also once Nana is on ledge, if Marth still has his side B juice and maybe even his double jump, he can just stall out for long enough until Nana gets up. And because
Definitely.
I also don't know if she will normally get up or roll, it's kind of hard for me to know when I can re-grab the ledge or retake it with Popo. So sometimes I just prefer playing it from on stage and then like ledge trapping Marth with both climbers. But I should definitely find more ways to send Nana to ledge safely, because I don't know when
Yeah.
she's going to get up, but the opponent doesn't know that either, and they have to respect that she might just roll. And even if she doesn't roll and they get to ledge, that's still fine for me.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, I think you played the edge guards that happened well. I think a lot of it's more so that like you were saying, like with better Nana setups and more Nana setups of going to ledge and stuff like that. I think there are just like more potential edge guards that could be threatened here that would probably make the edge guards that you're doing even stronger, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I agree that the edge guarding was definitely one of the main weak points in the set for me.
And he falls for the exact same position as the first stock this time, and but he's already used his side B. So the first time this happened, he hadn't used his side B, and so he misses the fair here. I think one of the first stocks, like the second stock or something like that, and then you get up from ledge, but he still makes it to the edge because he has the side B. But this time he's used the side B, and so when he misses this fair here, he is kind of out of options and he dies.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Also, first and only time you'll ever see Ice Climbers Nair do something.
it looks so
I think
cool.
I actually, yeah, I think I also did it against Cody in one of the games and I actually hit him because I did it off ledge when he was trying to give Nana. So
Definitely
only 2 times you'll see it do something.
It's like a DK Nair moment. It's like there's got to be a use in here somewhere for this. I do think that their Nair is kind of like the Fox forward air equivalent, where like as they get more advanced, there's probably going to be more Nair, like small Nair applications. But for now, we're still kind of in the era where, trying to get all the back airs and blizzards right.
Yeah, for sure. It's the only hit aerial that stays out for a decently long time that doesn't just have set knockback like down air. So, there are definitely some uses for it.
And what do you think about the Dreamland pick here? Do you think this is Marth's best stage against ICs?
So the two best Marths I've played in this matchup, when I was at Collision, I played against Zain and I played against Rishi as well. I felt like Rishi was a little bit better at the matchup than Zain was, and both of them preferred Dreamland and then Battlefield in that order. So I
Okay.
was expecting the stage pick. It depends on how the Marth is playing. I think with how Zain was playing at the end of the first game, I feel like most stages could have been fine, and I think Dreamland would have also been fine, just because there's more room to get grabbed where you're not guaranteed dead to handoffs. And because if you're edge guarding Popo successfully, you pretty much kill the climbers at the similar percent. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought too much about it, honestly. I just know that I like FD and Stadium, especially when there's no transformations. But besides that, I feel like any stage, like no stage is awful for ICs. No stage is like by far the best for Marth.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that too. Like it feels like the stages are a little bit preference. Personally, like just my vibe. Like I don't know this matchup, like the stage pick super well. My impression is that Yoshi's would probably be good for Marth, just because of the low platform height. Because Zayn is doing so much like descending from platform and stuff like that, and it felt like he wasn't playing the ground game super confidently. So it kind of surprised me that he picked this stage where it's like, sure, it's harder for ICs to get you on the side plat, but I don't know if you getting him on the side plat was really the issue that he was facing. Like it seemed like the issues he was facing was like being unable to kill Popo consistently out of edge guards and like letting you live to high percent and then like having trouble playing the grounded neutral, and it feels like this stage kind of forces both of those things to the extreme where he can't really interact with you off the platforms. Like the platforms are basically a hard stalemate and Popo is going to live forever. So it might be a great pick in the matchup in particular, but it struck me as like maybe not a great pick in the moment, but like I said, it not something I'm super sure of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And one thing I wanted to mention is you talked about the fair wall and that he kind of stopped doing the fair wall. And what I did notice is he actually, I think it might be this game. It's this game, and maybe it's just this game and next, or maybe it's just next game. But there's definitely he just starts doing only the fair wall, but he keeps drifting in too far. Like he's not using like ambiguous drift of like whether he's kind of moving forward a little bit or back a little bit or in place. A lot of them end up too aggressive, and it feels like he's kind of ignoring the CC aspect of like Popo, where it's kind of like, okay, if I just swing, I'll catch them in the air and get like fair forward smash. And oftentimes, a lot of times, if somebody's not playing as well, they will try to go for those like lower effort, high payoff situations. So I just wanted to mention that for the viewers.
Yeah, that's a good call. I noticed that those fairs were working well at the end of game one, so I told myself that my main two ways of playing around it in the next game should be getting earlier blizzards out from further away, and also just being on the ground and actionable more, because if Marth does rising fair, you can actually dash attack it somewhat realistically if they try to double fair. So those are like the two things that I did to try to prevent Marth from just getting those fairs as easily. And also shielding with your back turned towards Marth so that you have access to doing back air out of shield, but not actually going for the back air until the Marth has done the forward air, because else you just jump into it and die instantly, because that's how you lose in this matchup. If you ever get hit out of the air, it's really bad.
Right, and that's kind of what he's banking on with the fairs, and that's part of why I was saying it feels a little disrespectful almost. Not like he's trying to disrespect you, but to like the character, where like he's kind of assuming that if he's swinging enough that he's going to catch you out of the air, but you're like very aware of that situation, and even if Nana gets caught out of the air, you're working hard to make sure your Popo does not get caught out of the air and get stuck in that really bad spot.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of what you said in the analysis of myself versus Aklo, that with both climbers, it just is hard to move around in meaningful ways where, Nana doesn't get lost and you stick to your entire game plan all the time. But I think especially on a big stage like this, I think Zayn's thought process was, I'll get a lead and then I'm happy to play a 6 or 7 minute game if I have to. But I was also very ready to do that. So by just playing it really slow, I ended up, I ended up luckily not giving him too many free stocks that way, and then that allowed me to claw myself back in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. So this is another edge guard that I think more could definitely be done here. Like, I think at the very least there should be some sort of ice block action here, like ice block and a potential like slip hog type of deal here, because I feel like at the very least, like, okay, so like right here, so he has no double jump, and so you don't need to be concerned with any sort of double jump stuff. And he's right here. I feel like this is screaming ice block to me. Because he just kind of ends up in this position where he doesn't have too many options, and then you're with the slip hog here. I feel like Nana would be in a good spot, especially after the ice blocks here, to potentially like cover this, and you can just kind of wait on stage for him. Whereas like here you end up no ice block, very passive here, and you're kind of giving him like free reign off stage, and then it's kind of difficult where you have to cover this early timing, and you kind of end up with like a 50-50 here, but I think you could have gotten better than a 50-50 in this spot.
Yeah, I was trying to read the up B on stage and then ledge dash grab it to kill him.
Yeah, that's
with
the
the ice block. Yeah, exactly. The issue with the ice blocks is that if people are just holding up or even smash DIing up, it can actually give them height. And like I said with Slip Hog, Nana might just ledge jump instantly, and then Marth can just upbeat to ledge anyways. But yeah, if I'm not going to cover ledge anyways, then I might as well just send Nana to ledge and risk her, doing a ledge jump or normal get up instantly.
That is fair. And I do see that like if he comes up instantly, you do like the 50-50 here was played perfectly, where if he did do the early up B, he was dead here. And so I do think that was really good. I think the thing to keep in mind a little bit, like, I do see your point with them holding up on the ice block, but at the same time the ice block ruins his drift, and so I think it could potentially put him in a spot where his only option here is to go to ledge, depending on what happens. And honestly, just as like the other player in the interaction, I think seeing the ice blocks come at you in the recovery can potentially put you in like a bit more of like a panic mode, just because like you're sort of putting something out there for them to have to deal with.
Yeah, it changes the timing on when they have to up B to sweet spot if they get by it. Yeah, I think if I can get like a pivot Nana jump ice block there, like a really quick desync Nana ice block, then that'd be optimal there. Because I don't think I have time to spot dodge ice block with just Nana. But yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I took away from this as well.
And yeah, like I was saying, it's like if you don't know the exact answer to that spot, a lot of times I'm not, but I've played against ICs enough and thought about them enough that I definitely feel like there's something there that can be used in a way that would make that edge guard a lot more than a 50-50. But
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you just keep making it back from this. Yeah, I like those fairs. I like just fairing them off. Okay. Nice, cleans it up. One thing I think a little bit is that I think you might have been able to get a little bit more jab grab mileage in this set. It felt like when you were doing your jab grabs, he was not dealing with them well, and he was kind of getting grabbed out of it, but that didn't inform you necessarily to start doing more of them. Like, I think if you had done a jab grab here, he wasn't really giving a lot of indication that he would not that the thing is I think this was a good decision in neutral to wave dash in here and shield. More so that, like, I think there were a couple spots just throughout this set in general where the jab grab could have been a little bit better, where, like, he wasn't really dealing with it well. And it's kind of the same thing that I was saying with the Cody set, where when he's not DIing the down throw down air, like, a single time during the set, that, like, maybe you could throw it out just a tiny bit more.
Yeah, I see that.
But that's like a preference thing. Okay. Yeah, this is what I was mentioning, where he starts overcommitting with the fairs. Like, rather than walling with them, he starts doing these, which are just not good. It's like you were saying earlier, it's him, like, kind of just really, really wanting to catch you jumping. Like, he's really hoping that you go for, like, a back air here or something, like, right here. He was hoping that you would back air here, and then he gets fair forward smash or whatever and ends the stock. And so I think you did a really good job of, like, not ever giving him these, because I think these are kind of greedy. And you did a good job of just staying solid, not giving it to him, and then punishing them.
Yeah, thank you. It's super important to not give Marth those forward airs for free because he kills Nana so easily off of them.
And I think that was honestly like the main like reason that you won the set so easily was that like he was not doing anything crazy, and then he's like, okay, we kind of got to default to the thing that gets me the dub, like if they give it to me basically, and you just did not give it to him. The fairs felt very ineffective. Would up smash have killed here?
The issue with up smash is that I wasn't sure where exactly Nana was going to be. And if Marth holds in, if Nana's too far to the right, then she just misses there. Whereas forward smash covers more of like a sideways angle. So even if Nana's a little bit too far to the right still, then forward smash will hit a bit more easily.
That actually makes a ton of sense. Okay, I didn't realize. I wasn't sure exactly what you were thinking there, but that makes a ton of sense. Once again,
to hit up smash, it's just smaller. Yeah.
I want to emphasize, you do this perfectly, like every time. You just get to ledge exactly at the right time, and that's so important. Like
yeah, and here we kind of see why I sometimes don't slip hog when I technically could, because it forces me to grab ledge earlier with Popo to make sure Nana also grabs it early enough to not get clipped like this.
Yeah, I think in like a spot like this is not where I think the slip hog would be super good.
Yeah, Marth still has side B and, is so close to ledge that he can stall for too long, even if Nana rolls up, that it doesn't... he can still go to ledge even if she rolls.
I do think that there might be a reaction point you can use, because you've fully committed to going to ledge here, but it feels like you pre-programmed the ledge dash, whereas this was definitely like a back air if you were ready. Not an easy back air to hit by any means, but there might be a reaction point in here somewhere.
Definitely, yeah. I was thinking that too. Instead of the slip hog ledge dash, I can just double jump back air or just back air. But I also think if Marth is that high up and uses double jump early, I think I could probably just put out a Nana Blizzard next to the ledge. And then
that's so funny. I was just thinking about that. I was like, oh, what if there's like a Blizzard here?
Yeah, the annoying part is that at this percent, it'll freeze him, he'll pop up, and then he'll get his double jump back.
Yeah.
Because when you get frozen, you get your double jump back, which is why I didn't do it there.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Just such a funny mechanic.
And yeah, look at this. You get the exact same thing again. I'm pretty sure here there's not. I don't think you necessarily had an option. There might be some sort of crazy, like... You could probably right here react to this and drop back air and then recover, but that's a little tricky. But it does feel like it was a similar situation. Your timing on the ledge dash to edge is just so perfect that you might want to expect the Marths to misjudge it and swing a little bit more often. Because it feels like you're planning on them realizing that you're perfectly going to ledge and playing like the correct situation afterward. But I feel like the Marths are not going to be as aware of that situation as you are most of the time.
Yeah, they'll never be as ready for it as I am.
So they're always like, yeah, exactly. So they're always like, oh, we can just hit him here, and you're like, well, I know that's not true, and so it could be just like a quick freebie to clean up.
Yeah, I think I just have to mess around with more Nana stuff there as well, because if I can get a Nana ice block out and still get the ledge grab timing the same way I did there, then even if they do the side B at ledge height, they might just get clipped by the ice block, and then it gets a little bit easier to edge guard with Popo after.
Yeah, completely agree. I think this definitely should have been a shield poke down air from Zain on this one. He could have definitely got the shield poke down air here, but not an easy judgment to make. I do think he was really overdoing it with the fairs at this point, though. Like, I think the rest of this game, he just pretty much only fairs over and over. And like the down tilts, like he's using them a little bit, but I don't super approve of. It almost feels like like my impression of like a big part of this set in general is that he just wasn't able to like simulate ice climbers well. Like it feels like he's not able to like look at you and like see what you're doing and figure out like an intention from that and play like a real neutral. It feels, and at that could be the way he was playing that day, or it could just be like a weakness in the matchup in general. But it feels like he's kind of playing around your position very generally speaking and trying to avoid stuff and then just trying to swing fairs and hit, because there's not a lot of consistency when he chooses his openings. Like it doesn't seem like he's really paying a lot of attention to like what Nana is doing in this moment, or like whether you're desynced and stuff like that. And I feel like it makes the fair wall and stuff a lot weaker when it doesn't have as much intention behind it. It's like I feel like I can feel the lack of intention from the fairs, and they just end up like less effective.
There's a lot of small blind spots in Ice Climber's movement and how they defend themselves where you can then go for your attack, and Zain is kind of just doing it based on like when he feels like he has tempo, and not necessarily when Ice Climbers have like half a second of downtime.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it. And I think we talked about it a little bit earlier in the Aklo set, and it's kind of like a big thing I talk about against ice climbers is that like the more you move against them, the longer the neutral goes, the more different positions come up, the harder it is for them to stay together and avoid those little blank spots in their movement and their walls and stuff like that. And so I think Zain could have definitely been moving around a lot more. Like I think he has a lot of stage here to use that he's not. Like he's moving around a little bit, but it just doesn't feel like he's really setting up for anything. You know, it feels like he's kind of just like, maybe he'll give me the fairs, and then when you don't give him the fairs, he's like, maybe I'll just go for them again.
Yeah, and then he goes to top platform to reset for a bit, to come down and then go for the fairies again.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine, because like the first game, they worked the second half of the game, and this game they're also working so far. So like right now I don't really even blame him too much for it, because clearly something's working.
And the thing is, I do think that it is working, but I think that it's working in a way where it's a bit of like he's putting a little bit of the control on your end.
It's definitely about me messing up and then getting caught by the fairs, not necessarily him like super outplaying me with them.
And I might be tripping on this, but I think that after this fair you can wave dash jab. I'm pretty sure I've seen Army do that. That after the first fair, like you get a quick wave dash jab in before the second fair comes out. If he hits you with on shield, I'm pretty sure you can get the jab out, and that could potentially prevent some of these fairs. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've seen Army do that.
That's a good call. I'll test that out.
The one jab grab he escapes this entire time.
Yeah, when Marth is jumping around, it gets a lot easier for them to escape it. When they're in that down tilt mode, that's when jab grab becomes really good.
Yeah,
because then they get stuck holding down.
No, that's a good point. And this is funny because it feels like it's like baby's first time edgeguarding Popo. not to like make fun of Zain, but you're like, man, he keeps living the forward smashes. What kills him faster? And it's like, oh, of course, down air. And it's like, well, down air is a lot easier to avoid with Popo's with the side B drift. It's not quite as consistent.
Yeah, once he double jumps, I know what his drift is gonna be, or what the furthest is he can go. And I think these are all spots where back air is not that bad, just because it starts nicely under Marth and then goes above you.
Exactly.
Which is usually like where Popo's gonna be coming from.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, I think the back air here would have been a lot better. Either back air or fair, I think, is a lot better. But like, clearly, like the back air would have for sure hit here. And I think it's look at his face. He's like, no way.
That is a good freeze frame. That is a very good one.
And I know this face, like the faces he's making are clearly like this kind of like, man, I'm really just like allowing everything right now. But like Okay, here we go. You gotta keep trying. And you're just totally locked in. Like, you can feel the difference in the attitudes here. And not that he's definitely trying his hardest, but there's also this feeling of like, wow, I messed up again. Like, really?
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. Okay. Great. That was really good.
Nice. There he waited a little bit longer. You can see he F smashed me at like 125, and just with good DI and holding in, I get close enough to the ledge where I can like wiggle out and still air dodge to it. So it it just is kind of tricky for Marth. Yeah, especially because
I think he just needs to be a little bit more proactive. Like, he's waiting here to set up the forward smash, but like basically if he creates like, let's say he full hops here to like set up like a down air, but he's not going for the down air, he's just going for the back air or the forward air. I think that's a lot better because it forces you to side B a little bit earlier rather than like getting this air dodge, and then also he can just react to the air dodge and like do like a late back air or something. Like, if he had full hopped here, the drop like late back air could probably hit. I do think it was a good recovery on your end. I think it's sort of this weird situation where they're like, well, I don't want to just hit Popo with my weak moves, fair and bare, because then he'll live forever. And it's like, dude, he's gonna live forever off the forward smash too, but the forward smash is a little bit less reliable.
yeah,
So I think
if he,
oh yeah, go for it.
I think if he crouches next to the ledge here, especially since I have to air dodge to make it back to ledge, he can probably just down tilt the air dodge and then CC
Definitely.
the side B if I go high, and then do like up B or down smash or F smash or whatever after. Just let me finish the move and then punish the lag. There's a lot of stuff you can do. It's just you can wait a lot longer. You just have to make sure the most immediate path to the ledge is not available to the Popo.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. Great slide off. I don't know how intentional this was, but that was a crazy slide off. You reacted to it well regardless. Great light shield here too. This is something that I have been a little bit lacking on. I'm trying to get better at this. Like, if I'm in a spot like this, just light shielding here, because it gives you the push off where normally this nair would have been really, really good like pressure, but instead you're able to like convert it from the light shield into a punish. Although this could have been a back air, I still think it was great.
Yeah, thank you. I think I played DK for like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 years ago, and then I became the GOAT at light shielding and never stopped
That
doing
makes
it.
sense.
And Game and Watch. Those two characters, they really
they need it.
they teach you.
So I feel about Sheik and CC. Like, I feel like my CC got a lot better, and like crouch game in general from playing a lot of Sheik. So I would imagine playing a lot of DK, you get crazy good at light shield.
Yeah.
Okay, cleans up the edge guard. Yeah, surprising to be in this spot and still win the game, but ooh.
We saw these down airs that I did a few times already, where I did like shot up down air out of shield. It's better than I always thought, because if you drift and space it correctly, then Popo down air will hit first, and then Nana's down air will hit quite a bit later, because the Popo down air has already pushed them away. So it's not like the two moves hit at the same time, but it's like Popo down air hits, pushes them away a bit. So Nana gets like more of like a middle height or even falling down air afterwards, which makes it more like, it makes it less minus on hit than it would be if you hit both hits at the exact same time. And against floaty characters, they just kind of get popped away, and it's not like Marth can CC down smash you for it like Peach can.
That is a great insight, actually. I had not thought of that at all, and it makes a ton of sense. So I'm going to keep that in mind. That's really cool.
Yeah, you also see me do that in my set against Cody a few times, where I just shot up down out of shield against pressure, just because it, does decent damage, and then the late Nana hit can actually lead into, positive situations.
Yeah, this is the spot with the on shield. I think the nair, it's kind of tricky. My instincts say you can wave dash back air here, but I could be wrong. But it feels like if you wave dash through him right here, he doesn't really have a lot of options. You can probably get the back air out before he can really do anything.
Yeah, that might be worth practicing.
I think this is the spot where I'm thinking like, okay, there's got to be a slip hog type, like up B throw Nana to ledge type of thing here. Not like there's got to be some sort of option here that puts Nana on the ledge.
Yeah, you can roll towards the ledge and then hold jump and make Nana just jump to ledge on her own. That can be good to force an early up B that goes on stage, or covers the ledge more nicely.
Very clutch grab right there. You're also,
Nice.
I also think that something that you did really well in this set that definitely turned the tide in your favor was you're really good at coming in like right as forward air ends. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do against Marth is because, obviously the fair is just so crazy good and it's so fast and like it takes up a lot of space. It's really easy to come in like right here. It's extremely easy to come in on this fair a tiny bit early or a tiny bit late. Like if he had done this fair a little bit later, and then something can go wrong here. And I think you do a really good job of like you come in a little bit after the landing because Marth just doesn't have as many options right after the landing. But I think you do a good job of like not ever accidentally coming in early and getting messed up for it.
Yeah, it makes a big difference if you get hit by a tip of fair there and die, or if you're
Exactly. That's what I'm
half a
saying.
second
Like
later.
the difference between those options is so huge. Like you might die versus they die, and I think like it's kind of like which side is the error on? Like is it on the slightly early side or the slightly late side? And I think I really like that there's this like if you're perfect, you're right on time, and any mistake you make is going to be slightly later, which just kind of creates a little bit of like a mix up on Marth's landing, and because you're wave dashing in, you have all kinds of good options out of that.
Yeah.
Okay, fairs again. Like it feels like he's executing the plan, but I'm just not seeing the calculations going on in his head of like what you're actually doing. Like we were mentioning before. It just doesn't it feels like he's playing on like pure reaction to your position and just trying to hit the fairs like and like I said, it could be a matchup being just bad at the matchup, or it could be that he wasn't playing well. But like even in a spot like this where he like finally gets a hold of Nana here, and it feels like he just entirely loses sight of the fact that he's like getting put in this really bad position by Popo. And maybe this is something I would expect from like a lesser Marth, but if you're the best player in the world, I'm kind of expecting you to like keep an eye on Popo here.
Yeah, you obviously know that because you've played against pretty much all of the good ICs, but it gets really hard to like go for Nana without just getting owned by Popo. And I think right there, once I upper Zain, he kind of gets turned the wrong way. And then his plan of going for Nana, maybe he didn't realize that he got turned around by the up air. But after this up air, like now, if he was facing the other way, he might be able to just forward air her as he's falling down. But since he gets turned around by the up air, like you have to be really quick at like recognizing, oh shit, this is bad. I'm just gonna waveland on side platform and then play from there.
That is a good point. I think more like more so I feel like right here with this spot, this would be a position where like Popo has no double jump and I can potentially hit him as Marth. Like if I'm hitting him, then Nana's forced to come this way, and then I can still deal with both of them. Where it feels like he's just very tunnel visioned. I'm like, wait, I might be able to get Nana right here, and I do see like the value in that, like what you're saying, where if he didn't get turned around by the up air, he might be able to get down here, but he's still like using his double jump in a spot where like let's say he does hit this fair on Nana and you just forward smash him right here, he might still die, It just doesn't feel like a great calculation, but
Yeah.
I didn't catch the fact that he might have not realized he got turned around by the up air, so that was a good call by you.
Yeah, like right here and do the slip hog, Nana rolls up, luckily. But I think
Mm-hmm.
he still has enough time
Yeah, because
to
he has the
upbeat to
full
ledge right
double
here.
jump. The only thing I
Yeah,
was
exactly.
thinking here is like maybe like right here you do like a turnaround ice block. It might not
Hmm.
even be super relevant or hit, but maybe if he fast falls here, it can. Because they move kind of slow. I just feel like putting them out there. It's like it's like when you're playing Fox and you're getting edge guarded by like Falco laser. Even though a lot of times the lasers like if you could just take like if the laser hits you, you're not really your position hasn't changed that much. You're kind of still fine. You can even SDI the laser to get like a little bit more height or distance. But the fact that there's something there, it's like it adds to, it's the like the mental load basically, you know. It's like I think
Yeah.
just like hitting him off and chucking out the ice block and then doing the edge guard can create like so much more pressure to the opponent, even if it's not like the perfect solve for the ice block. And I think the slip hog here, this is like I like the slip hog, but I still think that like in this position with the double jump and the side B, it is putting him. It is like creating a position where like he's for sure gonna get back because of the like double jump and side B. Like he just has too much stuff there. Let me see.
Yeah, I totally see that.
Let me see. So right here. Yeah. No, he just has a lot of options in that spot, and then just kind of I think it felt like you were probably still going to win this game from here, but this was still such a crucial SD from Zain that, like, if he had made it back, you know, it could have gone either way, and the set could have ended up at 1-1 and potentially goes in a different direction. And I think basically the moment he misses this up B. And the thing is, like, the forward smash pressure on the up B here is huge. So I can, like, I do think that it was not an unforced error, but it's still something that I'm a little surprised that he missed. But it was a
Yeah, can you go frame by frame just on the F smash? Because F smash is only out for one frame on the ground, and I think it was timed pretty well here, because Marth kind of reaches up his arm as he's up being, right? So I wonder if this would have hit if he had not been too low to recover right here. Because it looked, obviously you can't see because the camera in this game just sucks. Yeah, kind of impossible
yeah.
to tell, honestly.
I do think there was probably a pretty good chance it could hit. I
He
think
probably texted fast
it
falls up B's again.
it looks like if he had drifted back like to here, I think the forward smash for sure misses. But with the way he was riding the wall here, I think you had a decent shot. I think the forward smash could have been a little bit closer to the edge just by a tiny bit. Uh, which is why I was saying that I think if he went out here, he would have been fine. But it's really hard to tell. I think you timed it. It was well timed anyway. Though, like this was a solid edge guard, but it is always a little bit of a pity to. I would much rather have seen the forward smash hit, you know.
Yeah.
But kept it solid, and the reactions in the crowd are really funny. Like, look at these guys in the middle, like, everybody's freaking out. Because, you know, the feeling is like, if Zain is not, like, destroying you and it's 2-0, it's not looking great. You know, he is the number one, can potentially still come back. And then this game, you just obliterate him. Like, I think
Yeah.
that he starts off with, like, it's really funny. He starts off with, like, it's almost poetic. He dies in the exact same way that Cody dies against you a couple times, where you're just at 0 and they're just like, oh, I will go. Like, it's like, well, they're expecting me to aerial on this side, so I'll aerial on this side. And it's right in the exact handoff position. And I do not see the logic here. I think this was just a bad decision overall by Zain. But I think also that based on his movement in the previous Dreamland game, this was part of his autopilot movement. Like, he does this exact sequence in the previous game. And so you could say that you're just really ready for it, but I also think that, like, what is he doing here? Like, what? So, like, he goes up top, and it's like, sure, the algorithm says you come down here with a fair, like, the basic like autopilot movement, but like you should definitely just be hanging out here looking for something, right? He just comes all the way in. But the other thing though is that a lot of players do end up in positions like this. You get up 2-0 on a top 5 player, and they do something dumb, and people aren't ready for it because they're thinking, okay, this person is gonna ultra clutch because they're number 1 in the world or something like that. And I think that like just staying solid and reacting to this position for what it is, rather than it being like Zain in this, because this doesn't feel like Zain. You know, like if you're imagining what Zain would feel like, it's not like, oh, he's gonna fair me at 0 and I just get this free grab in the corner and I 0-death him. They would be like, no, that's not what Zain would do. Like if you were theory crafting, they'd be like, Zain would do this and this to do a better option. And I think a big reason why you won the set is that you were just always ready. I think against Cody too is that you don't, like, you're not trying to force easy openings and like easy errors, and just like you're not execution testing anybody, but you're also very ready if they give you freebies. And I think that combo kind of like messed them up. I think like they were not ready for like somebody to be playing honest neutral, but also not just super respecting their actions.
Yeah, I also think it helped that I played Zayn at Collision this year, early this year in March when I wasn't quite as good at the character yet. And even in that set, I already felt like he isn't really doing much to make progress in the matchup, that I shouldn't be able to punish super hard to make it not worth for him doing anymore.
I see. So you had the experience.
I went into the set with yeah, and obviously I probably analyzed that set 1,000 times more often than he did. He probably didn't even look at it again because you won 3-2 anyways. But then I also saw him have another Game 5 set with Marth. I think it was like 2 months ago at Riptide. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so, like, this should be so easy if I get to play against it and if he plays like this. Of course he can play better and he can improve at the matchup. But I had so much like confidence in this set where I knew that if I just don't do stupid stuff and if I, hit my grab combos, which I didn't at Collision, I knew it really shouldn't be that difficult. So I knew that, all right, if I just play decently and I don't give him free stuff like I did last time, I don't see how he could destroy me, right? Unless he does something new.
And, that is, for anybody who's watching the video, that is the power of analysis. It gives you a certainty of what the other player is capable of, where their baseline is, where their average is. I think, like, just like you saying, yeah, you went over the set 1,000 times more than he did is so big because it shows how much the preparation contributes to, like, the preparation of, like, oh, okay, I just need to play this way, and having the confidence that, like, he will give you those things, and you can just kind of chill out and be confident in your openings and you'll win is huge. Because otherwise, it's really easy to come in as the lower seeded player and start aggrandizing these top players in your head of like, wow, they have all these, I'm sure they have some secret trick to come back on me here. And you're like, no, I've played Zayn, I've watched Zayn, thought about it a lot, I know what I need to do to win. If he's not coming up with some crazy new stuff and he's not showing his new stuff, and you're just punishing him for it, and I love to see it. So good stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
I love when somebody wins because they analyze the previous set really hard, because it feels very like justified. It's not like, well, I just was playing hot that day. It's like, no, like I knew what I had to do to win, and then when I did it, I won.
Yeah, it feels very rewarding as well to be like going into the set of thinking like, I feel like this set, if I don't fuck up, it shouldn't be that hard. And then it ends up not being that hard. Of course, it could have been really hard, and the next set I might just lose again because it's so good.
Yeah.
But in that one set, I felt very vindicated.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that's like the way to do it. Definitely just the way to win. There's always the potential that these players can like pop off and go crazy, but maybe next set he does add a bunch of improvements and you pop off and you go crazy. And it's like that part of the game of like they could go crazy or whatever is just not as relevant as people think. It's way more important to have the solid game plan and have the knowledge and just go in knowing what you're going to try to do.
Yeah, and especially now that I've beaten some of the really, really good players, it's very interesting to me because I feel like the narrative is still that ice climbers are like solvable, and I really don't think they are. I just think they can do too much stuff to just like for a top player to easily like solve the matchup for themselves. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them practice the matchup and then playing them again.
Yeah, I think they're a great character, and I've said that for a while that I thought they were like pretty top tier. I think maybe not like super top tier just because they have a few really tough matchups. But I think that people have underrated them for a while. In particular, Cody. I think like I've watched Cody play against a lot of ICs and do game plans that I would consider very bad, but he just kind of like wins anyway. And then afterward, he's always like, "Ah, man, that character's so bad. Fox just beats him so badly, and that's why I won." And you're like, "Man, don't you think maybe?" And I'm not trying to hate on Cody, but it's just an example of like, I think because they're a very complicated and chaotic and difficult to manage character, that it's very easy to like play against some ICs who's missing one or two of these wacky options that like they just have millions of options, and it's like if this Ice Climbers player is not doing a couple of these options, it feels so free and it feels like you can get away with so much, and then two small implementations later and a little bit of solo practice later, suddenly Ice Climbers come back as this way stronger character. And that's why I think that like as the meta advances, they basically can only improve because like these other characters do not have like the depth that they have.
Yeah, you can have pretty much any hitbox out while still dash dancing, just by making Nana do stuff, and that allows you to more or less solve any situation if you know what's gonna happen.
Good confirm. Yeah, and at this point, it's like it feels pretty over at this point, and then I think you get one more grab, and it looks like it could transition to a 4-stock. And if I was Zain, I would definitely be like, okay, you probably got me. I feel like the rest of this game, low-key, feels like he is out of gas. But
yeah, right here, I'm telling myself to not give him anything at all. And when I missed that grab, because that's something that I did wrong a lot in my set against him at Collision, where I got the grab, but I wasn't ready to forward throw handoff instantly. Because when Nana is in front of Popo like that, if you try to down throw handoff, Marth will just pop straight up, and then it will be too far forward to grab him if they DI in, which they always should do. So you have to instantly forward throw handoff here, which is not super easy, because you have to tilt the stick forward just enough to get the forward throw without making Nana dash.
Yep.
So I hit it on the second stock, I think, or first stock in this game. And then when I missed it on this one, I was like, no, you're stupid. Play the game. Don't mess up. Just do not give him anything. This game is not over. Like, I got clutch boxed on once in my life, and I never want to have anything similar to that happen to me ever again.
Yeah.
Also, isn't it crazy that just like double back air grab could just be the stock at 0 right here in center stage?
Yes.
Like if I just execute correctly, like exactly the middle of the stage, he just dies.
I'm kind of curious on this position. I don't know. Maybe you could answer it. What do you think of a dash shield grab here? Potentially not putting Nana so far away from the position.
I wasn't sure if that was gonna land.
Okay. I was curious if it was more of a reasoning than that.
Yeah, no, I just thought that if I were to, I would have to dash too far to still be able to shield stop with it. It might work, but I also, like, having Nana in front of me is good, because then when I do the forward throw handoff, she will be closer to the ledge already.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Throw input there.
So I was curious about.
Yeah.
And I think,
that's a good idea.
Right here, being like, no, I'm not going to give it to him is really good.
Yeah, I think you're going to see me back off a little bit and just, like, chill for a bit. Or maybe he just dies twice, honestly, I don't remember. But
yeah, and right it's interesting to me because I feel like it's like he's kind of turning on his, like, final moment, like, clutch mode, and it's just like him dash dancing a little bit more, and I feel like this would have been really nice to see from him earlier in the set to actually, like, play the neutral out a little bit more rather than like, and like I think you're doing a really good job of doing the hard part here as ICs, which is keeping, like, this position, like, you have this Blizzard position and he dodges it and moves around and you're like, that's cool, I get it again. And now he's like, okay, I'm going to reset. And you're like, that's cool, I get it again. And I think that, like, this is one of the hardest parts to stay steady at as ICs, especially against like a really good player. And so I think the fact that you're like continuously setting up like, no, I have a Blizzard out in center stage, and you are going to have to deal with it somehow. And I think that like he's still not playing super great around like just waiting for the Blizzard to end and like the way he's playing around that, but like you're doing a really good job of just maintaining that position and not giving him the freebies that he kind of wants here. He's definitely looking for some freebies. Like he's looking for that you kind of get a little desperate to finish it. Because oftentimes that's a really good clutch strategy as like a top player, is you get behind in the final moment and they're about to get you, and you just kind of like, rather than continuing to play this desperate like, no, I'm gonna come back, you go, oh, maybe you got me, maybe you can just finish me off right now, and then they try to do it and you get your big comeback. And so I think it was this was so good. This is like, obviously you know this, but for the viewers, this is why the ice block is so good. Because it just complicates this position. He wasn't really ready for it. He ended up double jumping into it, and he ends up dying for this one little ice block.
Yeah, there's this one exact angle where if Marth is recovering from there, the ice block is really strong. And also I think that right there was like the first grab Zain ever did in this set when he respawned.
The first
He
what?
pretty much never grabs ICs. He grabs Popo, of course, but against both flammers he very rarely grabs, which is... Like, if you watch this set as an ICs player and want to get better against Marth, it probably isn't going to help you. This will just help you get better against Zain, because he plays so differently from all other Marth players.
Yeah, because I think a lot of them grab a lot more often, from what I've seen.
Yeah, and if you grab Nana, then Popo can just shake grab you for it, but if you grab Popo and just throw instantly and don't pummel, then it can get kind of awkward, because the throw knocks Nana down, and then like you can maybe nair her on the ground after. It's not like guaranteed at like, it's kind of random whether you grab Nana or Popo, so that's a bit annoying, but it's still good to threaten, especially when ice climbers are playing with their back turned and shield a lot.
I completely agree, and I think if you manage to find a spot to set up the grab on Popo, it can create like the crucial advantage state that Marth can use to actually transition into getting like the fairs and like the early kills that he really wants. I also think one thing about this set is that Zain does not use Nair like at all. I think Nair is not like a super great like walling and neutral tool, but I think there's definitely spots where like forward throw and then Nair the Nana mistech and then probably keep Popo in the air. It just feels like he's like hyper simplified this matchup on his end because of certain options maybe not being quite as good, and it feels like he's sort of leaving a little bit on the table, like with like the grab is another example of that.
Yeah, and he doesn't really ever threaten a hit on a Blizzard. Like, Blizzard does have a bit of end life for Nana.
Yeah,
and you
that's
can
exactly.
like sometimes threaten like a dash attack. You can even counter the final hits and then just hit Nana with a counter, which, they're all like a little bit, not gimmicky, but they're just options that if you represent them once, suddenly Ice Climbers have to play completely differently once Nana Blizzard ends. And they can't just chill out, they actually have to protect themselves.
I had not thought of the counter at all. That's actually a really interesting option there, because I think about the end lag, but because I don't play a lot of Marth ICs, I had never thought of the counter. That's an interesting option that he could use.
It's a little bit hard to get consistently because the Blizzard hitboxes are random, and you kind of have to get close enough where the counter would actually land. So you can't really come in from above that easily, and it's hard to come in from the front. But sometimes you can like short hop into it and then like just get the counter out, and yeah, it just knocks her down very early.
So what's random about the Blizzard hitboxes? Like, is there, if you can explain it quickly? I actually am not aware of how that works.
So Blizzard is like, it's like a bunch of small like circles that come out in front of ICs, and they can go like, they can stay close to the ground, they can go forward and up a little bit, or they can just go straight forward. And how high up they go and like which direction they go is somewhat random. So
okay.
Like every Blizzard hitboxes, they will always look different. So some of them will hit really high at the end. So for some of them, the very last hitbox will not be very high. Yeah.
So is it kind of like a cone? Like they come out of like a cone type thing, or?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
I think after this, if you just hop on Uncle Punch and like do a Blizzard and look at the
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. I have Uncle Punch open already. So
yeah, and just like compare one or two of them. It's quite interesting. It makes some stuff a bit inconsistent, of course, but it makes it a bit harder to like have counterplay like that counter thing for Marth, because it's gonna be slightly different every time when the hitbox is out at which position.
Yeah, like I think he starts. I like the way he's playing neutral a little bit more here, where he starts doing like empty hop down tilt to catch going in, and like this can potentially lead into all kinds of really good spots here. So, but I feel like it's too little, too late on the neutral game. Like he spent the whole game jumping around fairing against somebody who was not going to get faired there, and so doing like the better neutral in the final moment here is just not enough. And I think that you clean it up with the jab grab here, and whew, Nana just does the zero pummel.
Which is fine. I think it was mostly just like Wispy tripping me up a little bit.
That makes sense.
Making it a bit unsure, like how much space I will have once I get there, like how deep I can dash forward. So I did my grab too early because I didn't want to run off stage.
So you feel like you actually reacted to Wispy here? Because it starts blowing like really, really right before you did the thing.
Yeah, the thing is that I see Wispy turn his head right as I get the grab. So I know like some.
So
wait,
so right here while you're doing the handoff, you notice the head turn on Wispy.
Yeah,
that's
as icy as you just notice because it fucks with you so hard.
That makes a ton of sense. See, that's something I for sure would have missed if I was analyzing this alone. I would have been like, no, he can't react to Wispy because the wind has started blowing, and you're like, no, I'm reacting to the head turning because I play this like crazy hard character.
Because you can see him breathe in, right? Like he's planning something. He's gonna say some words that no one wants to hear.
No, he's getting warmed up. No, I see it. That's super interesting.
He's about
I had not thought about
something
that.
Bad. Yeah.
And then
this is a very classic thing when you miss the handoff and then do the Nana Blizzard, and then opponents just kind of panic and try to like hit Nana for it or something.
That's funny.
This also works against Spaceys.
Like I also said classic because I was like, yeah, that's the spot. Like I think that's the Blizzard there is the perfect solution, and you clean up the kill. And you don't seem as shocked as you were about the Cody win. When the Cody win happened, you were definitely sitting up there like, really? I just beat Cody? And then the Zain win, you're just like, yup. I like the difference in like your body language is pretty clear. It feels like you were much more confident and like planning to win this set from what it looks like.
Yeah, when I played Cody, I was just like, I got my top 8, I'm good. Like Cody was probably going to be my, except for Triff, Cody was like the one opponent where I felt like I was probably most likely just to lose this set. So I just went into the set being like, I got my top 8, I'll just try to play my best and just, do well and have fun. And if I start winning a game, then maybe, anything's possible. I like had zero pressure on myself. But for this set, I also had zero pressure, but because I was so confident that I would win. I was just like, I know what I need to do. If I just do it, I should be fine. But I knew that other people didn't, know about my confidence. And I also knew that I might just be wrong. I might just get 3-0'd quickly, right?
Right.
But the competitor in me was like telling me, you've got this, and you should play as if you know that you've got this.
Yeah, no, but great job. You got the 3-0. Well played. Let me pull up the Uncle Punch really quick.
Yeah, if you just do a synced Blizzard, then they'll go in opposite directions, and then it's should be pretty good to compare compare the hitboxes.
Let's see. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, if you just press down B, like this, then you can just compare them side by side, and you'll see that they're both like slightly different.
Yeah, no, I can see that it's different. A little bit different every time. Wait, is it? I see how it's only slightly random. Oh no, that one was really different.
Yeah,
that one was like high the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, and I didn't realize that it had a slightly larger circle in the front consistently, and then the smaller ones go out. Wow, that really can go high up and like far away. And I had I had never looked at this. Wow, some of these end up like right here. That explains why sometimes I'm
for Edgeguarding. Yeah. Wow, sometimes they catch jumps really well. Sometimes they catch grounded opponents really well. Yeah. I don't know why. I guess they just felt like doing it, but yeah.
Yeah. No, that is really interesting. Thanks for teaching me about that. Do you have any final thoughts on the set or analysis or things you want to tell people who were watching?
I I think I'm good. I think we talked about all the interesting stuff. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to more majors in the future. Thank you for doing this with me. I'll leave you to, finish up the stream and talk about more sets if you feel like it. Uh,
Awesome, man.
yeah,
I
again,
appreciate you coming. Thanks for collabing on this.
yeah, it
And
was great. I hope people enjoyed.